going on, everybody? This is Joel with Muddy Crux Off-Road. Today we're going to be talking about some things you need to know before buying a Jeep XJ. Behind me, I've got Nick's XJ. Behind the camera, we've got Nick. We're going to be talking about his Jeep today. So his is a 1995 Jeep Cherokee. His in specific has a 4.5-inch lift. It's got some 32-inch tires. It's got a front bumper on it. He drives the piss out of this thing. So a couple things you need to know is the interior on this thing leaves a couple things to be desired. This is our interior of our XJ. Disregard the missing plastic pieces. That's part of the things that it leaves to be desired. So Chrysler has cheap plastic interior. That's all there is to it. We can't do nothing about it. But they make these really cool things that kind of help upgrade an XJ interior. So from the factory, this Jeep doesn't have cup holders. So you can buy one of these offline for like 20 bucks. It attaches where your center console attaches with a couple screws, and then you have cup holders. It kind of kills your emergency brake, but I think I'd rather have cup holders than an emergency brake in a Jeep personally. So like I was saying, the cheap plastic interior. We've got some broken pieces in this one. The surround around the steering column breaks. It has in every Jeep I've owned. But otherwise, it's pretty nice. We've got some wood grain. We've got room for a radio install, cigarette lighter, your typical stuff, okay? Let's go around to the driver's side so you can see where the magic happens. So this is our driver's side. So we got our wood grain. Our gauges, they tell us a lot. So we've got a fuel gauge, a temp gauge, we got a tach, speedometer, oil pressure, and a volt gauge. So that gives you a lot of information when you need it. We've got a 231 transfer case in this particular Jeep. I think Cherokees came with 231s and a 242. None of them came with the full-time 4x4. Okay, now let's pop the hood and see what we got going there. So let me not burn myself on this black paint. It's very, very warm. So this one's got a standard hood prop. You can buy the lift supports. So it's got a shock on it offline. Those aren't very expensive, 100 bucks maybe. This particular XJ has a 4.0 in it. You had two motor options in an XJ. You had a 4.0 inline 6, and you had a 2.5 4-cylinder. Both of which are really good engines. Both of which are kind of dogs. The 4.0 is going to give you 190 horsepower. If I remember correctly, it's like 230 foot-pounds of torque. It's enough to play with. The 2.5 leaves a lot to be desired, but gets a little bit better fuel mileage. We've got a couple common things that go wrong on these. So XJs are known for blower motor problems. You lose your blower motor, you don't have AC, all that fun stuff. This particular one, we've replaced the blower motor and the switch, which is another big thing you need to know about. The switch terminals melt together. The plug on it, it melts, and then you lose your blower motor switch. So if you're having problems with your heater, your AC, pull your blower switch out, check the plug on it. These are known for burning a little bit of oil. The PCV valve is a very common problem. This right here, it's like 10 bucks at O'Reilly's. It just pops in there, it vents your crankcase, and it makes it so you don't burn as much oil. This one we kind of modified. We did a valve cover gasket on, and this front breather hose was messed up. So this is actually a breather hose off a ZJ, and it fits in there. We just had to clamp over at the air box. Okay, another thing we have to worry about on an XJ is the cooling system. They're notorious for having cooling system problems, notorious for getting hot. Just jump on an XJ forum or a Facebook page. You'll see everybody talking about, how do I cool my XJ off? Okay, so this is what you got to do. This one here's got a new fan clutch in it. It's got a newer radiator in it. And we made sure we flushed all the old cooling system out. We put a 180-degree thermostat in it. Granted, we live in South Texas, so it never gets cold here, so keep that in mind. We got rid of his heater bypass valve that was supposed to be right here. That's a big thing for people, especially up north where it gets cold. All that does is it bypasses your heater cord and lets your engine warm up faster. I personally would enjoy to have a little bit of heat versus no heat. So we took that out, so as soon as the coolant starts warming up, he's got heat. Okay, so that's pretty much everything in the engine bay that I can think of, well, at least that we've had problems with. So let's shut this. We're going to talk about the front end for just a second. So this front end goes up to 1998. It's from 87 to 98. It's got the standard 4x6 headlights, your headlight doors, and all this stuff can be interchanged. So if you buy an older Cherokee and you'd prefer to have the newer body style, the facelift, if you will, all that stuff will unbolt and bolt on. I really like these. He's got the LED headlights in here. I've had these on a bunch of Jeeps, Broncos in the past. Those lights on Amazon, I'll put a link in the description. They are awesome at night. I'll try to get you some pictures. They work really well. I think they're only like 80 bucks. At least they were the last time I ordered them. But you can put those in this front end or the newer front end. He's got a rugged ridge bumper on here. Funny story about that. One day we'll talk about it. But it completes the front end of this Jeep. He's got the wide tires. He's got the tubular bumper with the LED black headlights. He did a good job on this. Now let's talk about suspension. So this particular Jeep, we've got a rough country 4.5-inch lift. Goes for about 800 bucks. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. He bought the standard kit. It didn't come with adjustable control arms. So one problem we really had a big issue with was these control arm bolts. So they are a bear. So if you're going to do a lift kit on your Cherokee, make sure you soak those like a month in advance so they come apart. So we got our standard coil spring, shocks, extended brake line bracket to utilize the factory brake lines. We're going to be doing extended brake lines on this here soon. We're also going to be doing sway bar disconnects. We did that on my ZJ. You can go check that out on the channel. These are known for death wobble. A big death wobble problem maker right here is this track bar. This track bar bolt will kind of waller itself out. They make kits where you can put a bigger bolt in it. He's got an adjustable kit on here. On the other side there, let's walk around here. So one of the big upgrades you can do on these Jeeps is to get rid of this. So Rough Country, Rubicon Express, all the big guys, they make kits to turn this into what they call a double shear track bar. That will make it so that they have an eyelet, a circle eyelet on both sides. It makes it a lot stronger and a lot easier to replace. Now moving around the back, one thing a lot of people like about the XJs is it's got leaf springs in the rear. So it's all reliable. Everybody knows how to work on them, and they're very predictable. When you flex out an XJ, you don't have to worry about dropping an axle or a spring like you do on my ZJ, because you've got rear leaf suspension. This XJ, this XJ has a factory sway bar in. You can install those. It gives you a little bit better ability off-road when you disconnect your front and keep the back hooked up. Okay, so a couple more things while we're on the side of the vehicle. A lot of people will take off their factory flares like Nick did, and you can see the factory holes where your plastic clips go. So he pulled his off because he was rubbing them. A lot of people just take a multi-tool or a grinder, or even a sawzall, and just cut right along this line and just get rid of that flare bulge there. It gives you a little bit more clearance, and most of the armor that is made for an XJ, you have to cut that off anyway. So that's, a lot of people just go ahead and do it early on, especially when they're trying to fit big tires on a small lift. Most people that are building Cherokees anymore are kind of doing it on a budget. So they might buy a 3-inch lift and try to put 33s on it, and it doesn't work without a sawzall. So we got the Beat Not Babied sticker here, making fun of Wrangler people. Not really making fun of Wrangler people, we're just kind of SpongeBob lovers. Around the back here, the back didn't really change that much when it came from a 95 to the 98 to 2001 body style. It's still the boxy look. This Jeep has the rear window defrost and the wonderful Chrysler Jeep paint, single stage paint that doesn't last without big wax in this Texas heat. We're going to pop this open and show you some of our junk. So normally your spares right here, every Jeep owner carries oil with them. We got a basketball, because if you catch us at a basketball court, it's on site, you know what I'm saying? We got a lot of room back here for whatever you need to do. A lot of people will build kind of a false floor with drawers in it to keep your off-road stuff in. Ultimately, for a small SUV, you've got a good amount of space. So let's look at the back seat here. We haven't talked about it yet. So I'm 6'2". Oh, I gotta open the door from the inside. There's our problem. That's what I was talking about. All the doors don't work on XJs, so we kind of got to reach in and open it from the inside. Granted, that's a problem we could probably fix pretty easy, but we're lazy. So I'm 6'2", 300 pounds or so, and I'm gonna try to get myself up in this thing. It's not awful. You could sit in it. It's got a little bit of room. The headliner on all of these kind of sags, but ultimately not a horrible deal. You can fit your buddies back here on a wheeling trip, or your kids, whatever you want to do. The doors are kind of small though. So like I said, headliner sags on all these. Every single one of them either doesn't have a headliner or has a saggy headliner. And now we're gonna get to the bad, the rust. So this Jeep was from the Midwest, the Rust Belt. We got a little bit of rust. This one's actually really clean. We've got a little bit of rust starting on our rockers. We're planning on cutting those out for some rock sliders. And then right up underneath here on our floorboards, or lack thereof, we get some rust holes here. This one, like I said, is really clean comparatively. A lot of people have problems with the rear shackle bolts when they take it apart. We were lucky. We used some heat and some PB blaster and an impact and just beat on it till it finally gave out. So one cool thing that we thought about that you can do to your XJ, a lot of people do it. I'm not sure that they do it this way, but this is how we did it. We did it kind of with what we had in the garage. So Nick really enjoys the breeze and being outdoors, and I mean most stuff that people that wheel enjoy. So he made his front doors quick detachable, like a Wrangler, if you would. So these Jeeps have the standard pin with the bushing on the top and the bottom to hold it there. And on this side is the easiest example of how he did it. So he chopped those rivets out, we pushed them out, and we just dropped a bolt down in there that fits snugly. I don't remember the size of the bolt. But with that, you can just lift the door off. Unfortunately, with that, the door doesn't stay open. So let's show you what it could look like on the other side if you just pop out the bushings. So you can just take out that bottom bushing and make it so that it's kind of a quick detachable. The other side was having door pin problems, and we had bolts that fit, so that's what it got. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. I've got a ZJ video coming out just like this here in a week or so. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell next to it so you get the notifications, like the video. Most of all, comment down below if I missed anything or if you want to add anything to the video, and we'll catch you next time.